So I think I started my presentation a little bit earlier. So I've shown you the majority of what my usual presentation would be. So I've got a couple of extra things I can talk about for a few minutes. One of the things that I want to talk about is what happens when you're working on a team with Storyboard Pro, because this is something that comes up a lot. So if you're working with like 2 or 3 people and you're all working on the same episode of the same project, one of the things that you can do is you can use your project management to split the current scene. So you can split it up into several different scenes, and then the first person works on the first 2 scenes and the second person works on the next 2, and then you can merge them back together again to get them back into one big project. And then when you're done doing all of the revisions and everything, then you can export your final project. When we're working with our Harmony animation software, we have this whole thing built in where different users have different privileges. But with Storyboard Pro, it's more of a kind of a standalone application. So when they're opening the software, they have the permission to do everything in the software. So I guess it's limiting the access. Or the other thing you can do is you can back up your project before you let anyone touch it. And one of the other things that we recommend, because there's a backup storyboard thing in here within the software. And so we recommend that you do backups once or twice a day just to have a backup going there. But unfortunately, we don't have a way of really locking it. Like, you can lock layers manually. I can lock the background layer, but then he can go back and unlock it. Like, there's no way to tie a user's privileges to what they can do in the software with this one. So what else can I say for project management? Oh yes, revisions. So one of the things that often happens, and I'll just open back the previous example demo one I had open. One of the things that sometimes happens is you want to get revisions from your supervisor on what you have to do with this scene. So one of the things that we have built into the software is something called panel tracking, and we can turn tracking on when we're doing things like revisions. And what panel tracking does is it tracks whenever you have a, I'm just going to get rid of some of my toolbars here, whenever you make a change to your panel. So I want my brush presets, but I want to take away my file menu. There we go. Now I can see everything. So I used to have over here a revision brush that would automatically create a revision layer, but it seems like I've deleted that one. So let's just add a layer here and draw in it. And you can see that as soon as I start to draw, or as soon as I make a change to this panel, I just created a layer. Let's say if I want to go back and make a note here saying I want the ship over on this side actually going this way instead of going that way. Then when I make that change, you see that this panel turns yellow. So whenever I make a change on any panel, if I go back to this panel and, I don't know, make his sword much longer. Sword is not long enough. I want the sword that long. So now you can see that panel has been tagged yellow as well. And so then the little peon who is going to go back and make the changes has to go back and make the changes. So let's say that I take my ship here and I am now going to make the adjustments. So I'll move this ship over this way, rotate him like so. And then, so now I've made my adjustment, and I want to go back on the boss, and I'm double checking to make sure that the peon did the thing correctly. Then I can go back in my storyboard, and I can check out panel tracking. I can validate changes. And then when you validate changes, it's going to automatically select that first panel, and then I can validate that panel, and you can see that it turns back to its normal color. And then I can click on Next, and Next is automatically going to bring me to the next yellow panel. So it means that I don't have to guess which panels have had changes made to them. I just go straight to the panels that I need to see. And I can actually validate them all if I want to at the same time as well, but I'll just do them one by one and close. Okay, so now what else can I show you? One of the other things that we're doing today is we have this contest that's running on the side there. So I want to show you a couple of things that are related to the contest that we're doing. What I have them doing is I've created for them a sample project that they get started with. And their sample project is blank, or it looks blank, but in fact what it has in it is it has a library of 3D assets inside of it. And some people are asking me, I get a lot of people these days asking me if they can import models from Google Sketchup. And the reason they're asking me this is because Google Sketchup is this warehouse that has thousands of models on it for free. And so I actually did that. I took some of these models from Google SketchUp. Most of these, pretty much all of these models are from Google SketchUp. And then I imported them into Maya, and I exported them as FBX files. And then now I can open the FBX files in Storyboard Pro, and then I can just bring this in here. And so now I can have access to a whole library full of things.